Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We are live.
Yes, but there's always the delay.
Oh, hey, delayed people.
All right, come. I always wait till we have when it changes from 0 viewers.
Yeah, there's a few people waiting.
Yeah.
We'll wait.
So why does
I wonder if in the beginning of the video though, it's us just being here like this.
Definitely.
Like idiots.
Definitely is.
Yeah. So hey, if you are the pre-waiting people game.
I don't know why it's. Oh, there you go.
Damn.
Go.
Welcome to From the Ground Up. We are going to get a few things out of the way in the beginning. First of all, tune in tomorrow to Morelia Python Radio.
Boo.
For yours truly, minus Melissa, because she's babysitting. So that will be fun. If you guys haven't ever listened to NPR, which you probably have, it comes in on Tuesdays. Comes on Tuesdays, I believe at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern.
You should know that.
I don't know. I should probably figure that out before tomorrow what the exact time is. But I would love for you guys to go over there and join us for some fun snake talk and support Eric and Owen and everything they do, because they're podcasters too. They are like
they're better podcasters.
They're like
us.
the pod fathers. And
wow.
And then Reptile Radio.
That was so punny.
Are like the great pod fathers. So check us out.
These are great.
Tomorrow. And we're rambling. And t-shirts are available on Theportcitypythons.com.
Amazon affiliates. Oh, you're about to say that?
Yeah, if you want to go for it, go for it.
Okay. In the description of every video we post, we put some links to some common reptile products that you can go buy on Amazon. If you follow those links and buy actually anything, then we will get a little kickback from Amazon, and you don't do anything other than click link. So go do it.
That is neat. Thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Today we have on Brandon Wheeler of Morelia House.
So Brandon, could you give us give us a little overview on where you're from and kind of how you got into reptiles?
How's it going, guys? What's going on? Thanks for having me on. An overview. Well, just like everyone else that's ever been on this show, it starts when we're kids and kind of goes from there. Well, first, where I'm from Southern California. I live in San Diego. I've moved a lot, though, so I've had the pleasure of moving and living in multiple places across the country, but I'm back down in San Diego now. And it's fantastic. I love it here. The reptile scene out here is probably why it's my favorite. I've been to a lot of different places around the country, but there's just so much life in the reptile industry in Southern California. And it makes it a lot of fun because, we tend to collect friends in the hobby and group together and hang out together. And San Diego is no different. I mean, there's just so many people into keeping. So it's great. Yeah, when I was a kid, I really, really, really wanted a snake, and I always wanted a snake, and I always was catching them and finding them and being over at friends' houses and wanting to hold them, and I don't remember ever being afraid of snakes. And my mom just, solid no, forever. No, not going to happen. And I used to watch The Crocodile Hunter all the time when I was a kid. It was like my favorite show. So when the internet kind of came out, I would spend time searching. Yeah, I've been around for a while. I spent all this time searching for whatever I saw on the show that day on The Crocodile Hunter, different pythons or whatever it was. I'd Google it, and it'd take like an hour and a half to look at 3 or 4 pages because of the annoying dial-up. And finally, my mom just was like, okay, fine. For your birthday, you can have a snake. And I got a ball python when I was 11. And it just kept going from there. By the time I was 16, that's when I had more than, 2 or 3 animals and kind of started a collection. But then when I was 18, I got 19, I got a job at this place called Radical Reptiles that was in Orange County, California. And the sky was the limit at that point. That was like the coolest job ever, to be a freshman in college and work at the reptile store, because the collection just got extravagant too quick. I always kind of caution against that now. I don't. I always slow down, figure out what you like, don't go too fast. For all the keepers that are kind of just getting started, because it's real easy to have one snake and think it's the easiest thing in the world to take care of, and then all of a sudden you have 2, and then you have 10, and then you have 20, and then they're all babies still because you did it so fast, and you have no idea what's coming within the next 2 or 3 years, and you just get overwhelmed. So
were you keeping before you were working at the pet shop?
Steps. Yeah. When I got started at the pet shop, I had carpet pythons, and that was it. I've always loved carpet pythons. I started keeping carpets when I was 16, and but when I got to the pet shop, that's when I started bringing in tarantulas. I was really big into spiders for a long time. I had like 30 of them. I lived at my grandma's house, and she thought I had one, but I told her it was in the closet. Because she's terrified of spiders. She was cool with the snakes, but the spiders were a total no-go, and it wasn't okay at all. So I was like, I have one tarantula, and it's really cool, and it's really friendly, but it's in the closet, so just don't go in the closet. And it was just a shelf, wall-to-wall shelf. Floor-to-ceiling closet was nothing but spiders. So I don't know. That's just kind of what happens to you, I guess, when you're young, but it kept going from there.
So when did you move out of spiders and just solely go to snakes?
I've moved a lot. So I've moved across country 4 or 5 times. I lost track. But you'll notice when you move across country, you end up downsizing. And it's not anything that ever happens because you want it to, but life has a crazy way of being life. So when I moved, one of my moves from Knoxville back to California, I was like, okay, no spiders. So I had a reptile room, full-size reptile room like the one I had now, except I was moving into a studio apartment and I needed everything to fit in a closet. So you kind of, yeah, exactly. And I mean, I sold some really cool stuff when I made that move. That was hard. The spiders were the least concerning of what I got away from. But now I would love to have more again, but the wife's just not having that at all. We have a really good agreement. She lets me do whatever I want. As far as the reptiles, she knows that it's my thing and that python's really important to me. And as far as pythons, it's my world. I live in it. She doesn't say anything about it, but spiders are not cool. That is where she draws the line. So it seemed like a happy
Definitely
agreement.
agree. I'm totally in agreement with that one.
If a pair of olive pythons should happen to pop up in the mail here in the next couple of months, it's going to be cool. As long as they don't have 8 legs, it's no problem.
Yeah,
that's always my rule.
It's understandable.
He's not allowed to have anything with legs, like not anything. I'm out.
It's all about compromise. Not even for what? No monitors? You have a no monitor rule?
No legs.
I myself even have a no legs rule just because it's too much upkeep.
Oh man. You should have monitors. I don't have monitors anymore, but I've had a bunch. I love monitors.
I would do probably Ackies. That would be the one thing I would do. They're little.
You're Kimberly's.
I'm good with that. I like as small as possible. As small as possible. But and then you gotta feed them. You gotta heat them up to like 135 degrees or some bullshit. We don't have time for that.
And they have legs.
And they have legs and teeth and.
There you go. And there's something to be said for that though, because even though I've tried out a whole bunch of different aspects of the hobby, I find that once you find what you really like and what you're really into and what you're at least kind of good at, stick with that. Because if you're trying to do too many things at one time, you're not going to do anything. It's all about dialing in what you have and making it the best that you can. And when you're focused on so many different aspects of keeping, some of that falls through the wayside. You're just not going to be as good as you can be, at least in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I totally understand that. So like you had carpet pythons from the beginning. So was it always like, at least this is what happens to me. It's like, I have a 20% core of my collection and then I added more species on. And then I was like, oh, I need to get rid of the things that I don't like. And then I end up back where I started. Like I always have carpets and I always have corns. And like, I'm confusing you.
Yeah.
Like, did you just like always get into random things and then be like, keeping carpet pythons is better, so you just always kept carpets? Or
No, I've just always kind of, that's been my center balance point, like everything else that I've done and that I like to do is centered around carpet pythons. Like for instance, now scrubs, that's kind of my new endeavor. And it's not even really a new endeavor. I got my first scrub python, I don't know, 10 years ago. Something like that. I had a Moluccan for about 7 years, and her, unfortunately, I sold in that same move when I sold the spiders. Her, the Maclots pythons. I bred Maclots for a really long time.
really?
And Brettles, which I had bred, and yeah, the adult pairs. It was stuff that it's like, okay, I've done it. I love it. It's cool. But, I'd produced like 3 or 4 seasons of Maclots pythons, and it was kind of like, okay, these are the coolest snakes ever, but I've done this and I want space for something that I haven't done yet, which is what guided me to sell those, which was a huge mistake because now I just have to buy another pair. And we learned these things through time, I guess. It definitely was the wrong direction to go about doing it, but that's guilty, man. I missed my max.
Wow.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like anyone.
Right.
You would think over time someone would take up that project and produce them, but it doesn't seem like there's really many people producing Maclots pythons.
Not as many as I would like to see, but there's definitely more, I think, now in the last 2 years than there were in the last 6 to 8. I think Maclots pythons were just, no one cared at all. When I had Maclots pythons, I sold them for like 75, $80 a piece. It was nothing. And no one cared. And they were like kind of hard to sell at that point. They're like, what is this gray kind of funky looking whatever? We don't care. It's not a morph, and no one cared. And I think in the last couple of years, there's really been a push with a lot of the community to start to care when it comes to those harder to find, not so common wild type animals. Which is honestly kind of the way the rest of my collection is gone. I'm not super into morphs anymore. I did Jags and Caramels, and I've had Exantics and a lot of that stuff, and I don't now. I have one zebra that's a female zebra, and she's here forever. She's fantastic. She was I've had her since 2011, and the rest of the morphs are gone, man. I don't know. I'm really, I like locality stuff, and I like wild type stuff. And I want the natural animals to look as awesome and badass as they possibly can. And that's cool. And if there's stuff that people say are really hard to breed, I really want to try to breed it. And I want these species that, like ring pythons, dude, you can't find those anymore. And I don't have any. I'd love to get a pair though. It's on my I need it list, but in 20 years, when I look back at the hobby and there's, an 18-year-old kid coming up that really wants a bunch of cool stuff, I want to make sure that they can still have the stuff that we have today. I don't want all that stuff to be gone because nobody gave a shit and started to breed it, which is been a massive problem and a huge downfall in what we have, like Savu pythons, man. There was a thread on those the other day, and I used to get Savus into that reptile shop like crazy. We always had Savus. They were always on the import list, super easy to find. They were like $100, and forget it. No, that's not happening anymore. They're gone. They're effectively gone. I mean, you've got, I don't know how many people have pairs right now, but it's probably less than 100 if you think about it. They're not bred. When's the last time you saw captive bred Savu pythons? I think I saw 2 clutches hatched last year. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was about to say probably Nick and like a couple more people. But I mean, what happens when we take advantage of all the Indonesian stuff and Papua and all that stuff from there? Like, what happens if that ever closes down?
Oh, it's going to. I guarantee you it's going to. I mean, just look at history and look at history through the hobby and what's been popular in different eras, and then what's all of a sudden stopped becoming available, and all of these amazing animals that we're getting in right now. There's a time limit on that stuff, and there's laws that get passed, and there's quotas that get lowered, and yeah, we'll still be able to import animals, but what we can import is going to change, and there's stuff that's going to fall on the list. Look at Moluccan pythons. They were everywhere not that long ago, and now forget it. I've seen a pair for sale in the last year, and that was it. A pair. You can't find them, and they went from $300 a snake to $1,500 a snake. It's ridiculous. So we've got to breed this stuff,
And there's still not anyone producing them.
They're freaking hard to breed. That's the thing, there's a couple of guys that are working real hard at trying to figure it out. God bless them. Put me in line for a pair. I'm stoked. I'll pay top dollar. Get me a pair of captive bred ones because I'm in. But yeah, it's not enough. And I guess that is what is starting to really push me and get me excited of what we do. Because, through time, your interests tend to change. We grow into things and we grow out of things. And I just don't care about putting a gene together with another gene to getting this other two combined genes now. Look at how much cooler it is. Okay, great. So let's add another gene and then it looks even cooler. But that's great. And there's a place for it, and it's a moneymaker, and it drives our industry. And I don't think we would have the industry that we have right now without that. But on the flip side, like when you have your animal, like say it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had a pastel ball python. Man, that was the coolest snake ever. This rad. And then, or carpet pythons, jaguar. When jaguars first came out, I lost my freaking mind. I saw it. I believe it was Anthony Caponetto had some that was for sale, and they were, well over $1,000 a piece. And I was like, oh my God, I have to have that. I have to have that. And now no one cares. So, you have that snake that you may think is still cool because you had it forever, but half of you is also like, well, I could use some cage space and this isn't worth anything anymore. And with the morph market, that worth, that dollar sign, that race to just keep going, it's like this pyramid scheme to where effectively your snake in 10 years has lost so much freaking value. And when that's what you're breeding for is value, which is the fact when it comes to morphs, that's sad, because my badass looking awesome jungle carpets that I hope to produce, and those are still going to be awesome badass jungle carpets in 10 years. Nothing will change. I'm not going to be worried about how they don't have 3 or 4 genes. They're not going to make as much freaking money depending on what I pair it to, because I bred them because they're badass jungle, and that's just my mentality now.
Yeah, and I think the morphs it lends itself to this disposable mentality to where in 5 years it's not worth as much, so you get rid of the male, and then after 10 years you get rid of the female. And like now that a lot of the work is done, it's probably a little bit different in jungles now, because if you have a great yellow and black animal, you can breed that animal for its life and retire it in one home and produce 10 years of amazing jungle carpets.
Yes, exactly.
But to play devil's advocate,
please, someone.
I mean, you said it, but like the morph stuff has to be there. You can't have every single person trying to produce the same exact jump.
Yeah.
At that point, then the market would just be, what's the word? Is diluted the word I'm thinking of? Or saturated, right? Like you can't have you got to have both sides, because you can't have everyone trying to produce the best black and yellow.
Well, and there's got to be someone who produced striped jungles also, and who produce Palmer stains. They're like some
don't
of
know what
these
that
jungles
is.
that
What's
are
a
kind of
Palmer
ugly,
stain?
but
Palmerston, that's messed up, man. You can't be. Don't dog on the Palmersons like that, man. That's not cool.
are you mad that I called them ugly? 'Cause they are.
Wait, what is
Not
it?
anymore, dude. Not anymore. Have you seen the Palmersons Nick's got in his pocket? I'm telling you, those suckers are black and yellow now.
Well, it's a locality, correct? I don't know the
Yeah.
backstory of the Palmerston, but
Oh yeah, in the wild they're freaking dirt brown, but through selective breeding they've become black and yellow.
so then the distinction's gone anyway. So what's
So
the
then
point
you're
of the
just saturating
locality?
it, right? If it just looks the same,
Exactly.
why do I care?
Here's the deal. I don't want everyone to care. I want everyone to do what they care about and what they want to do, what they think is cool. And that's why it's important that the morph market is around, and why it's important that that end of the hobby pushes forward, is because please don't do the same thing as me, because I don't want to do the same thing as you. I want to do my own thing. So there's got to be enough for everyone to be interested in something. And the more that everyone's successful, the cooler crap everybody's got to play with, and that's what's important. So I'm a huge fan of the diversity.
So what, I don't know how to phrase this question, like why is it that morphs come in and out? Because at the end of the day, we're all caring about what it looks like. Or I mean, a lot of people do care about the genes and stuff, but I feel like a lot of times what catches you first is your eye. So what it looks like, what makes the fact that, I mean, the black and yellow is not a morph, but it's still two colors that look pretty. There's some beautiful morphs colors. Why do those go? I don't get why they go in and out. If the eye is the first thing that catches you, why is the morph?
I know what I want to say, but I want to hear what Brandon has to say.
Okay.
No, you're up. What do you want to say? Go ahead.
So like, it's weird because obviously the morphs are very big in the easy to breed species.
Like
so
what we're in corn.
So it kind of keeps your attention while doing something easy. So I find that ball pythons and corn snakes, easy to breed, easy to keep, easy just all around on the keeper. So it's like you challenge yourself to build the genes up with something like Maclots or something like that. You're challenging yourself just to breed the thing, and you may not breed the thing. Would you rather have a snake that you can breed it like 95% of the time and then put new genes in it and have something that produces consistently and makes money, or you have a little balls
about
and
carpets. Carpets aren't that hard to breed, are they? And there's morphs in those.
Not terribly difficult, but you see it's replicate at this point. It's pretty similar to the ball python market, in my opinion. And then more get made, and then they drop in value, and then.
But that's what I'm not getting. If they're pretty, why are they dropping? I don't get why they. Just because it's not going to be any more saturated than the just normal black and yellow. I don't know how to describe my question.
No, it's fine because originally, when stuff comes out, it's rare, and it's only really a pyramid originally, because when you get those expensive morphs that come out, they start out extremely expensive when you're at the top end of that, when you're early on. So originally it's a bit of a pyramid, but it's a pyramid people make money on. So, if you get in it and it works out, that's great for you. But, they all have their bottom out point. It's just, it's crazy to see stuff that used to be $1,000 now literally go for the same price as normal.
And I just don't get that.
Goes on because it's been reproduced so many times. It's all about.
Regular carpets have been reproduced.
Not as much. Not as much.
I feel like carpet. I don't know.
Because you can buy a Jag now I've seen them for $100, man. And, and I'm not talking about a quality, I'm not talking about like a freaking wow line Jag or something like that, or but you can get Jags for $100, $150, because there's so many of them. It's a co-dominant trait. You breed it, half of it ends up Jag, and all of a sudden the market's so saturated that you're just not able to get that dollar for it anymore. Now that changes when it comes to quality, because you've got people that produce some super quality stuff that is not easily replicated. And that's why I think carpets versus ball pythons have such an interesting switch, because with carpets, there's a quality and a look to the snakes that you get that you with ball pythons is easily replicated. A normal ball python's a normal ball python, but there's a varying degree of awesomeness when it comes to anything carpet related, because you can have a muddied out, super ugly animal, but you can have a really nice, super defined, contrasted animal too. And when you throw the morph into that super contrasted animal, it just is that much more awesome. But no one really pays attention to that wild type when it comes to, corns, when it comes to balls, when it comes to, boas. It's not about the most magnificent specimen that you can have to start out with. That type of selective breeding, I don't feel like is being done as often. I'm sure people are doing it, but that brings back some of the excitement, in my opinion, to the Morelia, because it's just a different aspect of it. Because I've been talking smack on Jags being $150, but on the same land, if there are people that have them for $500 and $600 still, just because of the line they are and how much work they put into selectively breeding it and making it as absolutely awesome of a Jag as they possibly can. So, it's a catch-22.
I think it's unfortunate for ball pythons that the rate of mutation, for whatever reason, there's so many morphs that are consistently coming out that there's always a new thing that you don't get time to line breed a pastel, because everyone just moves on.
The fact that there keeps coming more and more and more. Right. If there was only
if a snake was from Australia,
morphs, but and you just played with those. But I think the fact that once someone really gets into one, there's one more to get into.
Right.
And that, okay. I answered.
Yeah. Well, look, carpet pythons, how often do we get a new morph? What, every
when we're dead?
Every 5 years, there's a new morph.
Well, Australia gets them 10 years before, and then they end up in Europe.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in general carpet python, the species themselves. How often do you see a new carpet python morph? Think about it.
3 to 5 years, probably 5 years.
Yeah, on average. If you look historically speaking, I think the last one, and I could totally be wrong, would have been Axanthic jungles or albino coastals,
or the Will Bird jungle thing. Is that a thing? Was that Will Bird?
Dude, no comment. No, don't do that to me. No comment. That's a funny story. That's a funny story that I'm not going to tell. Yeah.
See, I don't know the story behind it. I just saw it. All right. I just know that people, I don't know, have varying opinions.
I have, opinions vary. Exactly. It's just I'm not going to touch that. It's a funky looking snake, man.
Our buddy Brandon also mentioned the silver peppered inlands.
Badass. Those have been around for a while, though. Yeah. We don't have them here yet, but they've been around for a while.
I would also to acknowledge that we have 2 Brandons in the chat and a Brandon on the podcast right now, so we have to be very clear in using last names with Brandons.
Oh man.
Because actually earlier, Brandon Sander said, do you think that's why green trees do so well and their desirability hasn't changed?
Yes, absolutely. With green trees, that's just such a whole nother world of awesome that gets opened up when you look into green tree pythons, not answer the question. I'll get back to the question, but I tried breeding condors this year, and I've bred some stuff, and utter absolute fail. 2 clutches, both nothing but slugs.
Really?
Yep. Hit the gutter both times. So,
different males?
Same male, different females. But I don't know. I got like 30 chondro slugs.
Better have a pep talk with your boy there.
I sold him to the guy whose female it was. Yeah, it was a joint project. I'm like, look, bro, this is terrible. It's devastating here. He's awesome. Sold him to him. It's fine. But as far as chondros, man, yeah, there's very few morphs, but it's all selective breeding. It's all, how awesome can we make the snake? How awesome can we make the snake? And it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication to be line breeding for as long as some of these lines are. Some of the really expensive chondros, they've been trying to get this look for like 20 years, and pairing after pairing after pairing, it's getting better and better and better. And that's just not a level of dedication that you see in other species, especially when it comes to line breeding. I think chondros are on an island of their own in that topic, and why they've retained so much value and will continue to, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So how do you feel, whether it be chondros or carpets? Are you kind of a designer guy, or if it were carpets, a morph guy, or are you looking for localities and purity?
I love locality stuff, and I love purity stuff. And, the purity road has been a long road, and it is hard, because I've bought a lot of animals that I thought, well, not a lot, but I've bought animals that I thought were pure, and they ended up not being pure. And I had to figure that out on my own. And I figured it out by going to the breeder and asking who produced it, and then calling that person and asking who produced their parents, and then calling that person. And I mean, I went back to the freaking mid 90s on a jungle carpet that I found out was 8.5% coastal.
Oh.
And yeah. I mean, at that point, must be negligent even in the look.
Well, no, you would have no idea. You would have no idea. And there are a ton of its siblings running around, and people are calling them pure. And what are you going to do?
Damn, you should just add carpet PI to your resume.
Dude, I mean, it took like 6 months to get that information. We're talking like I harassed people and figured it out. And unfortunately, I think probably lost some friends along the way. There were people I was, really cool with that maybe not as much anymore, but it is what it is, man. And
do you think it's even a
hard thing?
Is it even appropriate to label something as pure when no one can truly, you can go back as far as humanly possible, and then you hit a dead person or an illegal activity. So what do you...
Which is fine, because there's always going to be a dead person or an illegal activity. But, you got to get to a point that you're comfortable with. And that comfort level is going to be different for different people. You're never going to get back to the freaking smuggler. You're never going to get back to the zoo, with very few exceptions. With the diamond lineages, they're able to get back to the zoo thanks to Gary Valley, but Gary Vale Valley. I don't say, we'll call it Vale. There's exceptions to that, but in general, it's about going back far enough to feel comfortable and confident, because you have to hit a time frame that predates morphs. That's the main thing. You have to hit a time frame that predates the jaguar gene, and and before that, you had the jungle diamond crosses. And it's good luck predating that, because that was going on a long time ago. But if you can hit into the 80s and you're confident, it's hard. Try it. If you don't have lineage on your jungle, I don't know if you have lineage on your jungle or not, but you start trying to figure it out.
I'm going to be so disappointed.
You're going to leave a lot of voicemails. People aren't going to call you back. You're going to send a lot of emails, and eventually, hopefully, you get what you want. But at the end of the day, it's it's just about having awesome animals that you enjoy. And there's nothing wrong with, a little bit of this or a little bit of that. As long as you love what you're doing, it's fine. For me, I was set on a goal. I was set on a mission. I had 3 or 4 years into this project thinking, hey, this is pure. And then that was a kick in the nuts. It was a hard kick in the nuts. And I won't forget that. So I'm very selective about where I purchase from and why. And I'm very selective about my, when I buy snakes now and I'm looking at purity, you have to be realistic. And I'm more realistic about that now. And I believe, when I originally got into that project that we're discussing, I had some ignorance involved. And it's all about learning through your trials and tribulations, man.
How far back do you know the lineage? Why are you pointing at me?
No, because you said you had a question.
Oh, how far back do you know on yours?
Okay, so mine is a pairing from a female that was produced by Nick Button that I can feel pretty confident in that just because
it's Nick. Did you mean
Nick.
to call him that?
What? Nick?
I'm pretty sure it's called him Nick Button.
Nick Mutton, no. I said him.
Pretty sure he said
and
Button.
Then Hairline, which Brandon can tell me right now, Hairline's not fucking pure or something. Let me know. What's going on?
Know, dude.
I don't
who's Hairline? I don't know Hairline. Hair, like hair. I think you meant hairline, like you're like my balding. God, solid.
H-A-R-E.
No, it just depends, because he had pure stuff and he had stuff that had some diamond blood in it. And he had some stuff that was unknown. So just because you say hairline, which one? He produced a lot of stuff. So,
well, it is highlighter yellow and black. So, and it's never gonna produce anything. So there you go.
That's all that matters, man. Because those suckers, isn't it crazy though? The ones that just might have a little teensy bit of diamond in them, just look sexy as hell.
That's it. Yeah, that's what makes them better looking.
Those are the ones where you're just like, oh God, you look so perfect though. Like the WoW stuff, man. I mean, they're called WoW for a reason, because when you look at, some of the earlier WoW line or the current WoW line, you literally say, wow, look at the snake. And they're just the best, but you're like, I don't know.
It gets back to, I mean, should we just judge how good the snake looks, or should we worry about all this other stuff?
It depends on who you're marketing towards and what is important to you, because everyone's going to do different stuff. And I'll tell you what, 90% of the population out there that wants to buy carpet pythons doesn't give a shit. They don't give fuck all about purity. The people that care about purity are extremely small compared to the people that don't. So it's what's important to you, man. For me, why do I care about purity? Why do I want something to be pure? Because in 20 years, when somebody wants to buy a jungle carpet python, I want to be able to sell them one. And the way things are going, if no one gives a shit, that's just not going to be a thing. There will be no longer subspecies. You'll lose coastals, you'll lose jungles, you'll lose diamonds because no one gave a shit. And I don't want that to happen. So in my collection, I try to keep it as pure as that, to my knowledge, that I know. And that way we can keep it going for future generations. And that's just my thing.
To clarify for everyone listening and myself, like, besides you, who can you buy from that you can ensure the lineage, or that you trust the lineage from?
Oh, there's a bunch of people out there. Specifically, I'll just name Nick Mutton, man. Nick.
How could I have guessed that was going to be the first person you say?
I've spent a lot of money with Nick, but there's plenty of people out there that have good, pure, solid lines. David Haston, Headhunter has some stuff that's pure, and he has some stuff that's crossed, and he's got a little bit of everything. But if it's black and yellow, you call up Chris from Headhunter, and he'll talk to you about it, and he'll set you up with what you're looking for. Andrew Paris has some fantastic animals. And again, everybody's got stuff in their collection with a little bit of unknowns, but there's also a lot of people that also have definitely know that's solid pure. And it's just a matter of asking, because if they don't have the answer for you, and if they don't have the lineage to back it up, then that's fine. Buy the snake anyway, as long as that's not something that's important to you. Because like I said, as far as resale value is concerned, the pure is not worth any more than pretty. Pretty's worth more than pure all day long. Go buy a wild line animal, or a highlighter line animal, and those are worth a hell. You're probably going to get more money from that than some of the pure stuff. But it just depends. Just ask around. Just ask questions. Don't just buy a snake. If it's important to you, ask the freaking questions that you're supposed to ask before you buy the snake. Do you have lineage? What's its background information? Can you tell me the backstory on this animal? Because if they can't, then that's fine. Just don't care that it's it's all up to you, man.
So we will hit the scrubs towards the end of this, but what are the pairs that you have as adults, or attempted breedings and different stuff that you're working with that you hope to produce soon?
So right now the collection's pretty small. I don't have a whole lot. I have a pair of diamond pythons that hopefully, most everything grew up. I went through kind of a collection adjustment, both because of that story that I mentioned earlier about the jungle coastal cross, and because I had a bad run with some females that died after laying eggs. I lost 2 females in 1 year, both right after they laid a clutch. So that'll hurt feelings. And then previous to that, I moved. So I acquired some more stuff, and I kind of reworked my collection the way I want it. And right now I have a pair of diamonds that I love and adore, and they will be big enough to breed this next season. So hopefully that works out. I have 5 jungle carpets of varying localities and morphs. One's a zebra, and then some other stuff, but some very nice jungles that hopefully I should get 1 clutch at least from those next year. I've got the Brisbane locality coastals, which those are the shit. I love my Brisbane coastals, are awesome, man. But these guys, I just can't wait to see them get. They're great. Hopefully this year I'll hatch I'll be able to breed my Brisbane. Out of the whole reptile room, those are the snakes that my son gets to hold, because they're so chill and so cool. Really? And my son, my son's like not even 2 yet. He's like a year and a half. But whenever he walks,
this makes sense.
Yeah, whenever he walks in the reptile room, he's like, he points at all the different cages and he gets super excited. But I'll take out the Brisbane, and I don't fully hand it to him, but he gets to pet. He's learning to pet gentle, and those are the snakes I trust him with. So that's a fantastic locality. I really love the reds and the coloration and the heads, and it's just such a distinct look as far as coastals are concerned.
Why that surprises me, because we live near Austin Warwick, and he actually, we think, successfully bred his Brisbanes this year, but they are not calm like you're describing. So that's why I'm surprised on that end.
Carpet python's a carpet python, man. I mean, they come in a whole lot of colors, a whole lot of attitude. And it depends on what you got. I've been lucky because most of the snakes I have are chill. I only have 2 snakes that are even close to aggressive that I need to hook out. Both of those are my female scrubs. None of my carpets are aggro. All 5 of my jungle. So, the diamonds, I don't even think I could get them to bite me if I tried. They just don't care.
So what are you said jungle stuff, so you're working with anything else besides diamonds and jungles?
Diamonds, jungles, coastals, southern scrubs, and bar necks.
Gotcha. So where are you at with bar necks?
I don't know. I didn't think I was going to produce any southern scrubs this year, but I got some eggs in the incubator, which is pretty cool. Barnecks, the female is the same size as my southern. I mean, I think my female barneck might be a little bigger than my southern even. So yeah, let's do this. I'll pair them this season. No
So,
idea if it's work or not. They're freaking hard to breed. I don't know.
and do you really know? Are you going for a spring breeding, or are they typically winter? Do you know?
I paired them around December. They didn't care. I separated them out. I paired them again around Jan. Oh, hold on, wait. Where's my freaking book?
You got this all written down?
Hell yeah, I got this all written down. So a lot of people do. We'll switch the subject a little bit. A lot of people do like Reptiscan, which I heard is freaking awesome. And different phone apps and things like that. And dude, pen, paper. You feed stuff, and then you can just write it down in the book, and you don't have to like bend over. Like you can go drink a beer and sit on the patio and fill this fucker out. It's pretty easy to remember everything you just did in a night. It takes you like 30 seconds to do it. But anyway,
how many of those do you go through?
These?
I feel like you'd go through it pretty fast.
No. Like, I lost my last one. See, my writing's terrible, but for those people that are if that works or not. Anyway, no, you can have a book for a couple of years for sure. It just depends on how many animals you have. So let's go to scrubs. So as far as my southerns, I had a pretty cold reptile room this year. It was important to me to cool my diamonds. And in doing that, I kind of got creative. I live in Southern California. Everything, because of my living situation, has to be in one room. I can't have a hot room and a cold room and a medium room. That'd be nice. But everything's in one room, and it's SoCal. So what I did was I put some vents with a foam board in the window, and I hooked up venting with fans in the window to run straight to the diamond cages. And I put that on a timer and on a thermostat. So that cooled my diamond cages down to between 50 and 55 all winter long, because I was literally bringing air from outside and blowing them straight into the freaking cages. Which, careful with that. I had a lot of people kind of vote against it as far as, the breeze and what was that. And I mean, I don't know. They're fine. They didn't get sick. They were 50, 55 all year. It worked out. But there's no way that your reptile room is not going to still be cold as hell. My reptile room averaged about 10 degrees higher than the diamond cages. Excuse me. So it was about 60 to 65 in my reptile room all winter. Now I had the thermostats on their heat panels set to varying temperatures, but I think I had the scrubs down to like 68.
So that's ambient, or is that hotspot?
Yeah, they're hotspot during night temps. Okay. Just during the night, I had them down to about 68. I don't want people trying to keep them like that all the time and thinking it's cool. No.
Well, let's go through exactly how it went. So.
Yeah, exactly. So the scrubs went down to about 68 at night, and they fired up to between 85 to 87, 88 during the daytime. So I still keep the same daytime temps, but I let them get super cold at nighttime. And let's see, with my first walk that I witnessed was on February 10th.
And you started pairing them in December, you said?
On and off, yeah. So the first walk I witnessed was February 10th. They were together for about 12 hours locked up, and then the male seemed like he wanted to get out of there, so I went ahead and pulled him. I put him back in on February 25th, and they locked for about another 12 hours. And then she had her prelay shed on April 20th, and then she laid eggs on the 17th. So May 17th, she laid eggs.
Were you pairing from February all the way to April? Were there multiple locks that you saw?
No, well, I saw multiple locks through those 2 different times that they were together, 3 different times that they were together. But I stopped pairing after 225, and then let's see, she stopped eating. Um, so I fed her a live chick on February 22nd after she had a shed. There was a lock on the 10th too. Is that in here? Yeah. So I fed her a live chick on February 22nd, and then I tried to feed her again March 15th. She didn't eat. March 26th, didn't eat. Didn't eat straight till yesterday. She's back in food again.
And
So
when did she lay?
May 16th, May 17th.
Gosh, listen.
Sorry.
So yeah, man, pretty cold at night, pretty warm during the day. I feed sparingly. All of my animals, my scrubs, eat once a month. I don't feed them any more than that. I just don't. I don't know. I don't. Most of my carpets only eat every 2 to 3 weeks. The adults more like once a month. My babies even every other week. They pretty much, as soon as they've had like 10 meals and I know that they're on a strong path, they're on a bi-weekly diet. I'm not in a hurry around here. I keep it slow. My Brisbanes are the same age as Austins. They're actually siblings with Austins. And my girl wasn't big enough to go this year. She just wasn't. Well, she doesn't eat rats, so that doesn't help either. She's just on chicken. Totally my fault, I'm sure, but she likes chicken. So there's that.
Do you always try to ensure 3 locks with all your snakes you're pairing, or is that just this one time? Or
I don't really have any control over that shit. I just whatever I'm feeling to make it work, man. I just I'll look at her and I'll look at him, and if he's got that certain, one of the best things to look at is weather, because when the pressure, there's something about the pressure and rain and breeding, that they just go together well. When it's storming outside, put your snakes together. It is, if you're wondering like when it's time to pair and there's a freaking rainstorm, it's time to pair. Okay. If your female sheds, it's time to pair. If your male sheds, it's time to pair. There are things to look for when it comes to pairing snakes that'll increase your chances of getting locks and having success. Now, don't ask me to freaking populate and feel, the eggs that are in there and try to get all. I don't have the slightest idea about ovulation. I have half an idea about how all that crap works, and I don't know how to feel a follicle from anything else. I've never tried, really. I've never cared. It's just not on my to-do list. There's some guys that are really good at it, and that works for them. That's fine. I don't care, and that works for me, and I like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that, because you'll talk to someone and they're like, hey, I can feel they're now pea-sized little follicles going down, all this stuff. And I don't fucking know. I pair them up until they stop pairing up, and then the female may stop eating. Or
yeah, you count. There's one our pairs used it 3 times, and I was like, "Why are you doing? We saw them lock 2 times. Why are you doing it again?" And
we
so
need to really nail this fucker down.
I was just wondering if you had a number in your head that you felt comfortable with, like seeing the lockups. But yeah, he just kind of, if you wanted to put them together again, you put them together again.
I think it's important to just make sure you did
saw
the deed.
it twice.
Yeah, gotta do it more, man. I don't know how it works. Maybe it's just for fun. I don't know. You never know. As far as you said, you fed it chicks. So are a bunch of your scrubs on chicks? Are they hooked on chicks? Do you give them different type of meals?
Yeah, chicks are cool. Nothing's hooked on chicks except my Brisbane, but I do like to add I do like to add that to their diet every once in a while. It's like a treat. It's nothing I do religiously. Honestly, my son, he really likes checking out chickens when we go to the feed store, and he thinks it's really cool. And I'll buy a bunch and I'll put him in the yard, let him run around, and he thinks that's fun. And then I feed him to shit.
And then a couple disappear overnight, and whatever.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's a father son thing. It's just what we do. It's just part of it's wrapped into the weekend. I don't know.
No, that's cool. So do you feel that there's a big difference between maybe your animals that are on mice, or do you do scrubs, mice, rats, chicks? Do you change it up a bunch, or?
I start them on mice. They go to rats, I hope. And I don't want the only reason my Brisbane's stuck on chicks is because she was stuck on mice. But I could not get her to eat a rat. Can't get her to eat a rat still to this day. And I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and she won't take rats. She'll still take mice, but I'd rather feed her chicks just because, they're bigger and I don't have to feed her 10 of them. So it made sense. I've tried everything in the freaking book as far as getting her to switch over to rats, and I effectively just gave up. And my son and I go to the feed store now and get chicken, and it's cool. And she looks great. She grows fine, and she looks good. And it's not that she's slender, that she's on chicks, as much as she's slender that I spent so much time getting her to eat rat. That whole growth spurt, he was starved because it was this battle of who was more stubborn, me or her, and she won. But it took her a while. It was a long fight.
So do you know, did you get your female Southern as a baby, or how'd you get your pair?
My scrubs. So I have 3 Southerns, 2 males and a female. The pair that just bred are both wild caught. The female, this is going to sound terrible. So what happened was I was at my mother and father-in-law's house with my wife, and I don't know, we had definitely been day drinking, and I had just, I remember what happened. Dan Mullery was on Morelia Python radio, and I really missed my Moluccan Python. He was talking about scrubs, and it was the scrub show. And I had called in and asked him a bunch of questions, and I was just all pumped on scrubs. And I was literally talking to my wife about scrubs that morning. So we went to the bar for breakfast. And
the bar for breakfast.
We're in Long Beach. It's like vacation, it's our weekend off. We didn't have to worry about it. Grandparents had the kid. Don't judge me. So there's a local reptile shop that's not too far away from her parents' house. And lo and behold, I walk in, and here's this female scrub python, and she's probably 4 or 5 feet, which is the size she was when I bought her, about 5 feet. And
how many pet stores have scrubs? Like 0.
Dude, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. So I walk in and I ask if I can hold her, and they're like, "No, absolutely not." I talked to the pet store employee. He's like, "Dude, no, you can't." Like, what do you mean? He's like, "I'm not going anywhere near that freaking thing." And I'm like, all right, who here's working that has some freaking balls, or at least a pair of keys, so I can work this out, And finally, the owner, he was real cool, and he opened up the cage. He's like, yeah, dude, it's all you, though. Go for it. So he unlocked the cage, and I got her out. She tagged me 3 or 4 times, and I fell in love, and I bought her. And then, so it was like 2 months after that was the Sacramento show. And Dan had this patternless Southern male at his table, which, immediately I just had to buy because I needed a male. So I picked him up, and I've owned them both for about 2 years now. And then I picked up another one who looks super cool, really, really light and pretty, just phenotypically awesome. Not what I'm used to when I think it's Southerns, and there's something special about him. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. Either way, I like it. So I bought an extra male just for fun. So I have 2 males and a female now.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. I was wondering if maybe like male combat was a thing. That's why you had multiple males. Do you know anything about that in scrubs?
Probably. I would assume that male combat is a thing. I haven't tried it yet. I do male combat when it comes to my carpets, and it's fun, and I like doing it. I think it's cool, and it works great. I mean, they get all freaking riled up and excited and amped, and then you separate them, and you put them to their prospective females, and they get down. They do the nasty, and it's wonderful. I haven't tried it with scrubs yet. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I don't know. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll battle the Southern and the Barnack.
It's like, do you really want to? I mean,
no, and I kind of don't, only because this is something that Eric mentions a lot. Eric Burke on NPR. If it works, stop fucking with it.
yeah.
And I didn't fight them this year, and it worked. So I should probably listen to that advice. Again, I've changed things around a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've screwed a lot of stuff up, and then I've figured out how not to do that. And I've become semi good at the things. My goals I see getting accomplished much more often from learning from those mistakes. And if it's working, don't fuck with it. It's good, solid advice.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think it would be so much easier to tear apart male carpet pythons than male scrubs.
I don't care. It's all in fun. I have gloves I use in my videos. I know people probably give me shit for that, but it's for her protection as much as mine. I've got my welding gloves because she bites the shit out. And it's fine because she's so cool and she's so pretty, and I like that. It kind of gets me excited, I'm down for that. But I don't want to bleed, and I don't want her teeth stuck in my arm. And so when I know I'm about to get tagged, it's important to rock the gloves. I don't. Yeah, again, separate the males. I don't really care so much. It's just that's not what worked this time, and this worked. So I don't know.
I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
So, as far as scrubs go, how many eggs did you get this year from that female?
11. 11 perfect looking eggs, no slugs.
And that seems small to me. Was she a small female, or is that average?
Dude, she's freaking tiny. She's like 7.5 feet. Yeah, she's super small. I figured it out, and I asked around 10 different people what they thought on me pairing her, that had experience in scrubs. And 9 out of the 10 people told me she was too small to breed this year and to give it another year. And I love and respect all those people, or I wouldn't ask them. It's just, I feel like that has something to say about what we know about the species and what we know about the breed, because that was such a consistent thing in everyone's head that they had to be this size for them to reproduce. Well, they don't. And I know that now. So
is there a potential that, the size of your female, keeping them slim, feeding them less, could have helped you in this situation?
I don't know, but it works, so I'm not going to fuck with it.
Do you know what they were getting as far as average clutch for people who have bred Southerns?
It seems like 12 to 16 being around the max. I'm not entirely solid on that number, so if I'm wrong, I'm sure at some point someone will correct me, but it seems like if you get 16 eggs, that's a pretty good clutch. I know. Yeah. 16, 18, I think 20 would be massive, for sure. Because there was a real big barnack that Dan Mullery, he bred a couple of years ago. She was large. She was large, and he had like 11 good looking eggs, 12 good looking eggs, but he had like 6 slugs right behind it. So that would have been about an 18 egg clutch. I know there's some some Tanabar pythons that were bred this year, and they got like 16 eggs out of those, which, that's even smaller than my southern. So yeah, I think kind of similar to carpets. I think if you clear 20, that's huge.
Yeah, I was under the impression that it was going to be like somewhere in between a retic and a carpet. I thought it was going to be in the 30s or something, but I guess I'm just an idiot.
Dude, no, I mean, you got to understand, there have been not very many people that have bred these things, and it's a very small handful of people that have gotten eggs from them, and everyone has their own opinion about how they did it and what they did and what worked for them, which, what I did and what works for me, it's not going to work for everybody, especially if you're in a different part of the country. I had fans blowing into a cage at this certain temperature that made it this certain thing, and there was this storm this one night at this perfect time. Like, man, I don't freaking know.
Are you gonna stay consistent with your drops and the stuff you're doing during the winter though? You're not gonna, at this point, you're not gonna fuck with it?
Yeah, nothing got sick. It's good. I like it.
So then, because I wanted to talk a little bit of your trial and errors through the breeding process, but
Wait.
Melissa's.
Other Brandon has a question, and he said, "How big gram-wise do Southerns hatch out typically?"
I have no idea.
How many more?
Well, think about it. They've been bred in captivity, I don't know, maybe 10 times in the U.S. ever. Okay. And I've never weighed my babies. That's Paul Python shit, in my opinion. I had no time for that in my life. I don't care. It's not what I do. They're hatched. They're alive. Right on. Let's start feeding them. It's not important to me. I'm not very sciencey.
This is your first time breeding Southerns, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This would be cool. I don't know. I hope it works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't weigh shit either.
Ever.
And people ask about it all the time.
Ever.
Don't weigh anything.
I have no idea. Yeah. Nick made me weigh some stuff a while back, and I've had to borrow a scale.
People are weighing turds, weighing mice, weighing.
No, yeah.
I didn't have another question. That was it.
Now you maybe lost track of what I was going to
I didn't make you do that.
I will say the eggs are huge, though. They're really big. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll show you. It. Actually watching. Sorry for people that aren't watching. But,
I'll explain them in graphic detail to everyone who
will just be listening.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, we gotta stop talking. I got it.
Oh.
There we go. That's pretty big.
I mean, to me, they look ball python size.
Hold on.
Would you say that's fair?
Here.
Oh, thank you for the pin comparison.
Yeah.
So one is about, I don't know.
Let's say they're about 4 inches long, 3 inches wide.
It depends. Yeah. Anyway.
How many
probably add some water to this. Oh wait, wrong water. Oh, don't use tap water for your egg boxes. Get that purified.
Why not?
Mold, man. Mold.
No.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Mold happens more in tap. I'm telling you, I learned that. It happens true.
That makes me not want to drink tap water.
There's just some extra.
You need a whole house filtration system, actually.
We'll work on it.
I sell them. That's the other thing I do.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, we forgot to ask that what his other job is or day job is.
I work for a plumbing company. So.
Okay.
Would Morelia House ever become your full-time job?
I hope so. Not if my wife has anything to say about it. She kind of doesn't believe that I can pull that off. And it's not that I'm in a huge hurry for that. She's just tired of me telling her how well things are going every year, but it kind of stayed the same, like, oh, I'm going to be able to do this and this clutches, and it's going to work out like this. And then the next year, I just say the same shit all over again. And we've been together for like 4 years now, and it's the same song and dance. So she wants to hear nothing of it anymore. But for real though, yeah, it's something. I don't know. I don't care. It'd be cool if it could. But I just, as long, it's my sanity. This is where I get away from everything else. This is where I come hide out from my day when everything else has been whatever it's been, and I can just chill, clean my cages, handle my stuff, and enjoy what I do. And nothing else matters. I'm not thinking about everything else when I'm in the reptile room. I do my thing, and it's my freaking break from reality. And that is my favorite thing about Reptile.
Absolutely. We wanted to talk a little bit about, because you mentioned when we talked prior to the show, just your breeding trials and the ups and downs and kind of some of your failures and how you've come to where you are today. So can you describe
Do we
a
really
little bit?
want to talk about failures? That sounds sad.
Well, it turns into success, though, man. You make mistakes, and if you're in the reptile hobby and you haven't made mistakes, then you haven't been in the reptile hobby for very long, or you're not taking it very seriously, because clearly you haven't challenged yourself to the point to where you have fucked anything up yet. And yeah, man, I've burnt clutches. I've killed snakes. And I've killed more snakes than some people have owned. It sucks. And everything in my cages have thermostat, and so should yours. And if you wonder why, then keep them without thermostats for a while. You'll figure it out. And all this stuff that's common knowledge through the internet now, and social media, and groups, and people talking about it constantly, that's just become the standard, wasn't always the standard. And like I said, I got my first snake 20 years ago, man. There were no groups 20 years. There's a really bad pet shop employee that gave you some really terrible advice, and then you just figured it out. And and there's some other areas where I could have researched more and listened to, but I didn't know how to find any of that stuff. And I absolutely killed a pair of green tree pythons because I didn't have a thermostat, and I had a power outage one day.
Damn.
And when the power came back on, my air conditioner had broke. So it was the middle of the summer. Everything was on its heat. My AC in the house was what I used for my thermostat. It was set to somewhere in the low 70s. Well, guess what? The power outage killed my air conditioner. So when I walked in the reptile room, it was over 100 degrees. And every rat died. I bred rats at that point in time. Like 300 rats died.
Wow.
Yeah. Parachondros died. My first Jaguar I ever bought, back when they were expensive as a motherfucker, died. And yeah, guess what?
Can you get insurance on snakes?
I have no idea, but you can
Because
buy
technically that wasn't your fault.
Thermostats.
I don't know, but I ordered a bunch of thermostats after that.
I don't know.
I think it would be hard to insure something that we make up the price on. Like
it has a value to you
us.
But
yeah,
I mean,
it would be hard to prove.
But you look at the market and look what it's compared. Or
I'm just not sure. I mean, I'm sure if it was an option,
but like if it's your business,
it's
what you sell.
Kind of thing.
Wouldn't you be able to insure anything you
can
sell?
Open the first reptile insurance company,
or just property. It's your property, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
I
don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works.
I'm texting my wife real quick to see if I can get another beer delivered. Hold on.
That's a good idea.
I mean, I feel like it has to either be property if it's like in your house, so like property insurance, or if you're using it as your business.
Someone listening to us is like screaming at us like you're both idiots.
Well, I would like them to tell me if I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
That would be
But
sick. Yeah.
in my head, I feel like you should, if it's not your fault, and it's truly like your AC going faulty, and
there's
like,
so much human error that like we kill snakes just by breeding them. Brandon hinted
but that's your
earlier.
fault. If
All
it's something that's not your fault, I feel like you should get insurance money from it.
I don't know. I want to talk about it a little bit because like
you don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, but
that's probably a good thing to talk about though, is breeding snakes and what can happen. Guys, if you've never bred snakes before and you're really excited to give it a shot and you've got your pair and you can't wait to put them together, have no delusions. Your female is in mortal danger every time she breeds. I'm not saying you breed her, she's going to die. I'm saying that it takes a serious toll on females, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And you can, and if you do it repetitively over and over again, you will lose females after clutches. And every once in a while, depending on what species you breed, you might lose a male because that female might decide that she's hungry and kill him. So it's a risk. Every time you put your pair together, you're risking both of them. So there's a cost. Kind of like magic, you use magic. There's a cost whenever you watch the dorky crap that I watch.
Oh, good wife.
Yes. Babe, come meet the world. Where are you at? Come on, say hi.
My son's in the back. He's in the back.
Just wave. Come wave.
Check.
This is wife.
Hi.
Back.
But yeah, when you breed, there's a cost, and it's not going to happen all the time, and most of the times you're going to be fine. But every once in a while, occasionally, you're going to lose an animal.
So
and
oh my god!
You still have rats.
That's Tawny, man. Don't you rust my twin fox terrier. I love my puppy. Be nice.
I definitely thought that was a cat at first, like a Siamese cat. Like,
no, man. It's Tawny.
that was a very tiny dog.
She's the homie. She has no teeth. Her tongue sticks out of the side of her mouth. She's blind. She's like 2 years old. Yeah, she just likes to hang out. She keeps it real, causes no drama.
Is she a jag or a super jag?
She's definitely a dwarf. But a super dwarf.
Oh my god, look at her tail.
Look at her tongue.
Wow.
Her legs
She
are still
legit looks
out.
dead.
Dude, it can't be long now. I mean, I hate saying it. She's super old. She's super old. If my son has anything to say about it, it won't take long.
Now I forget what we were talking about. No.
Breeding and dying, killing snakes.
No,
Yeah.
it's cool. We got through that. But anyway, it's the most rewarding experience ever, but it doesn't come without risk. So that is my knowledge to drop on people who haven't done that yet.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even just the females, it's a disappointment of the eggs or even babies that hatch out with certain deformities.
Oh, yeah. Egg binding sucks, dude. Fucking sucks. The first pairing that I ever did, it was with my buddy Travis Johnson. Travis, Living Legless Reptiles. And it was my male and his female. And this is, again, like, I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger. I didn't know any better. So I had a male Irian Jaya, and he had a female jungle. We were like, holy shit, let's breed snakes. There's a boy and a girl. We should put them together, and there will be more carpet pythons. And that's what we did. So his female jungle, she laid, I forget how many eggs, but she got egg bound. And she had like 6 to 8 eggs still stuck inside of her. And we took her to the vet. and had surgery on her to have them removed surgically because that was the only option. And she died. She died like a week later.
Wow.
Gone. Yeah. And then one of my other buddies I watched have that happen too. So egg binding, man, that sucks. And that surgery they can do, it don't always work. It works very little, very, very few. I don't know. If you think your stuff's egg bound, just fingers crossed, because that's a rough road. It's a bit of a death sentence in a lot of situations.
Well, that's why, I mean, corn snakes. I had a twisted oviduct last year, and our female basically pushed out her internal organs, and basically the vet chopped it off, and then more of it came out, and then it dried up and fell off, and then she's still alive a year later. So that's some more magic for you.
Wow. But what was the cost?
Nothing. I just don't breed her ever again.
That's awesome, man. It's great to hear stories like that. It's very
But it was a double clutch where they were all infertile. It's not like I tried to breed her. She just did it on her own and fucked herself up.
Ghost clutches are a trick because I had a ghost clutch. The first year, rewind. I had Bradley and I had a female, and I just had I had a male and I needed a female. And one year that male laid like 18 slugs.
Damn. What?
Yeah, dude. Hadn't ever been with another snake. Just dropped slugs. And this thing got probed by like 3 different people, mind you. It was a gift. My first brother was a gift. And 18 slugs out of nowhere. I'd never seen another snake. Just boom. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, you're definitely a girl.
Not a female.
I mean, that goes to the fact that, like, until it lays eggs or you see a hemipene,
you're not sure.
You don't know.
I would like to think that's not true now, but I've been sent missect snakes from a couple of different people, and that's okay. It happens. I'm sure I'll do it at some point. I haven't been called out yet, but it's gonna happen. If you're the customer that calls me and I accidentally send you the wrong sex, I'm real sorry. I'll make it right. I promise I tried not to do that, but just let me know. We'll work it out. People that have done it to me have always worked it out. It's kind of a gentleman's agreement. Don't make a big deal out of it. It won't be a big deal. We'll make it right. But it happens. It happens to everybody. And some of the best named, most, high and mighty breeders in the world have done that shit. So it's just something that happens. But I don't know. But yeah, that happens. The whole ghost clutch thing, it's a real deal. Would have been cool if they were fertile, right?
I had a parthenogenesis on a ball python once.
Yeah, that's the fancy word I was looking for. How'd those turn out? Did they have?
Yeah, and they all came out normals because the female was normal. It was sick.
Or then they were all females, right? That's the way that works.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's a lot of $15 snakes on Craigslist. So
yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, everybody needs feeders, We have blackheads.
How dare you, sir?
Do you have blackheads? I want blackheads. I don't have those yet.
You don't know how much. There's one blackhead I'm super obsessed with, but we're not in the ballpark of blackhead money right now.
Yeah.
It's a Swiss line?
Yeah, so this guy, Split Rock Reptiles, I forget his name. Sorry, I probably have your business card right here. But he is a guy in Texas here. He has these like Swiss line. I believe what are the more brightly colored ones? Are those Westerns or Easterns? I thought they were Easterns.
Found it.
I don't know.
But they're supposedly traced back to like a Swiss zoo, and they are just yellow and red and just fucking crazy. And I just
I've never seen that much red. I have with his.
I've been following Derek Roddy for years, and I just Gotta buy a pair of snakes from that guy at some point. They look awesome, man. His stuff's insane. So what's on your to-do list? What do you want? What's your next pair? You're not done. We're never done.
Oh, I know.
I need to get a male water python. I need to get a male olive python, which I hear I need to get 2 male olive pythons.
These are like our the least likely we're getting next. This is your wish list.
So tough.
Let's do both. Let's do wish list and what you're actually realistically getting next. Because those aren't.
Wish list would be a pair of blackheads.
Okay. And then your water, and then your 2 olives. And then what's realistically next?
Realistically, what's gonna happen
is
one
the lavender
Cali King.
The lavender Cali King from Owen.
There you go.
We got a from Southwest Carpet Fest. Holy shit! Let's talk about that. We got
I'm wearing the shirt.
Yes, we got a
voucher from Owen, so that's why we're probably gonna get a Cali King next or whatever. I haven't told him that that's what we plan to get, but
that's what we
guess I'll tell him tomorrow. But you hosted, correct?
Yeah, I was over here. It was a great time. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember anything after 7:00. I'm a terrible person to tell the story. I was there. I did not pass out. I was the last man standing, as a matter of fact. But I don't have shit from about 7 a.m. to midnight 7 p.m. to midnight is completely gone. But there's pictures, and I know we had a great time. And we barbecued and we smoked some ribs, and we smoked brisket and pork.
Oh, you're gonna say something else?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
But it was the best time, and it's all about just people and getting off the internet, getting off of Facebook, and coming to hang out and shake the dude's hand that you've been liking his photos, videos for the last couple of years, and just hanging out and having a beer and enjoying each other's company. And that's what Carpet Fest is about, and that's what we did, and it was a ton of fun. And are you going to go to Northeast Carpet Fest?
No.
Why not, dude? I'm going. I live in freaking California. I'm broke. I hear that shit. I'm California broke. You don't even know what that's
next level broke.
Yeah.
We're literally moving to Philadelphia 3 weeks later.
So
we just can't go right before we're moving.
Why not?
I also am going to be out of town, which I say I can't go. I'm actually going to be out of town.
But we'll be there for every other Northeast Carpet Fest
ever.
All right. I'm just saying, I got my plane ticket round trip for like $380, and you're a lot closer. So I'm sure
it's a rough year.
There's a credit card somewhere with a $380 balance on it. You can just swipe. All right.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
Dude, he's in like 4 weddings this year, and that's kind of where all our money is going.
Either way, I'm very excited to be a part of the Northeast Carpet Fest.
Is it your first one?
Everybody. Yeah, and there's so many cool people that I've looked up to and spoken with and traded stories with for so long on the internet that I've never met in person. And this is the opportunity to go do that. So I've known Eric online for I have no idea how long, a really long time. And finally, I get to go meet him, and a whole bunch of there's like 2 people that are going to be there that I've met in person. 3, that's it. So,
we know you'll like it, and then you go next year, and you'll definitely be there next year.
No, next year I heard that the Europeans are going to form a Carpet Fest. So apparently, there's a Carpet Fest in Europe next year, which the wife already said, "Let's go." So as soon as I get the date and the country that is going
that makes a big difference.
I will buy a plane ticket because we'll be there for a week. We want to see a lot of stuff, but whatever the Carpet Fest is, I want to go. So I'm just waiting to hear from those guys, and I'm going to do Europe Carpet Fest.
Oh,
that's wild.
So should we save up for that, or should we just?
You want to go?
I mean, that
Well,
sounds
let's make a
awesome.
week out because it'll just be me and my wife. We'll make a week out of it. We'll go do stuff in Europe and let's roll, man.
Yeah, I think that that's so cool, by the way, like, because us in Texas, we get, we've met some of the Florida people, but we haven't really, if you're on the West Coast, the chances of you meeting all the people in the Northeast, unless you go to Tinley, I mean.
Yeah, but what do you want to do? Do you want to buy snakes or do you want to party? Because I know about you, but I want to party. All right. So we're gonna go see what it's all about because they all talk all this shit about how Northeast is the original and it's the biggest party. It's the best fucking time. But you know what? I haven't been there yet, and we're gonna make it a damn show.
I have heard Southeast was pretty intense this year at Dave Palumbo's.
But
I don't know. But Eric has a pool.
Yes, Eric does have a pool. But is it warm enough up there? It's cold.
I don't know. I think the naked cannonball's in order. I think we're gonna need a naked cannonball.
May not be the only one, so
we'll see. We'll see.
How would you like having everyone over and having everyone in your collection and all that?
Oh yeah, because you hosted it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Riley Jimison, one of my very close friends, great friend of mine, he got bit in the head by one of my barnecks. That was hilarious. That was a good time. And it was the nice one, because I have two, and the male is super friendly and super chill, and the female, she's not like evil or anything. I just don't trust that bitch. And yeah, the male though, no, Riley clearly had some drinks. We brought a bunch of snakes in the yard to have some fun, and he decided it was okay to put the scrub around his neck, which I don't even do that. I
like
don't.
A fight waiting to happen.
Yeah, and he somebody said something, and he moved his head over real quick and whack right in the head.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, it was cool though. It was funny. It was funny.
Other Brandon says you should do the Northwest Carpet Fest challenge where you sit in a 40-degree pool while people bet on it for US Arc.
We don't have a 40. Can we have a 40-degree pool? How do we do that? Ice?
I don't know.
I don't think I want hypothermia, dude. I gotta fly out the next day. Let's have a look at that shit. I'll do it out here when I can just sit on my ass all day the next day and not do anything. But I got a plane to catch and shit. I don't need hypothermia. Hell no. But if you can find something else stupid I can do for USR, I'll be more.
So how did you prepare for the whole thing? How did you guys arrange it as far as food and everyone coming over?
And was it just you, or was it like a committee?
I made a well, no, it was myself, Terrell, Riley, Tony, and April. We all were kind of the committee, so all of those people helped. Oh, and Steven Katz. So there was a bunch of people that helped me, which was awesome. I kind of was in charge of the food, which I abandoned halfway through due to the alcohol consumption. But I had Tony there to finish it off for me, so that was all right, And yeah, it was great. I kind of made the grocery list, and I just made everyone put their name next to what they were going to bring. I kind of told people what to bring instead of vice versa, because I had this dream of what was necessary, and it worked out well. It was like a well put together thing, and not just totally fucking random.
Yeah, that's perfect. What were you looking up just now? Looking up flights to Philly.
I was just seeing how much a flight to Philly would be from Dallas for that weekend, just in case.
What'd you find?
It's $223 is the cheapest.
Oh my God! Do you need to borrow the money?
But you have to multiply that times 2.
Do you want to borrow the money? You can pay me back.
I'll trade you a jungle carpet for it.
I'll take your olive.
Oh, see, now you've made an offer that I can refuse.
All right.
So wait, can I ask a total off subject?
Yeah,
have you heard of the moon glows in Australia?
Moon glow? like axanthic albino, or not axanthic albino. I'm sorry,
Hypoxantic. Wait, I think they said it was a hypo.
albino.
Yeah, someone posted a pic. Well, other Brandon posted a picture of it in the little chat thingy. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, super cool. And we have hypos here now too, so we'll have moonglows pretty soon.
In 5 years.
Probably. Yeah. I guess that's probably right.
I bet you that's the first pairing everyone's doing, probably for sure.
Yeah. I would say probably star pythons will get it first. If anybody was going to do it first, it'd be probably. Well, unless Harris has already got it. Paul Harris probably be the first guy to do moonglows in Europe.
Basically, Europe.
Yeah, it'll be Paul for sure. I would.
Do you know where hypo popped up?
Australia. And
but is it because I know obviously albinos are Darwins, so are they just regular coastals? Were there any specifics?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Repeat the question. I've had a couple beers.
Are there any specifics? I know that albinos are from Darwin's, but are hypos from any specific? Coastal. Right. But any specific kind of coastal, or just so if you're putting together a hypo with an albino, technically, it's not pure to some.
No, dude. No. But who cares? No one gives a shit anymore at that point. It's fine. Conversation's out the window. We're in a whole new direction. We turn fucking left, and that's where we're going, and that's fine. You know, like sometimes you just got to turn left. In Moonglow, that's just the way it is.
Other Brandon says there are pure albino coastals.
Maybe in Australia.
Yeah, but not across the pond though. Those are in Australia and Australia alone. We don't have those that are available to us, unfortunately. So they don't count yet.
Only America.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Someone has some big pants to get them over.
Yeah. Do you have any inlands? I really, really love inlands. Do you have any desire?
Not yet, but I will hopefully this year. If my wife's listening, I'm not serious. But seriously, though, I should probably get those right after the olives. So I do have a pair of olives I'm getting this year. I need inlands in my life. I need rough scales in my life. I'd really like some Tully jungles, too. So that's kind of the top 4 of the stuff that I want to get next.
Are those all realistic for your life?
This year, or like this year and next year? Because this year, like half that shit's realistic.
I'll give you 2 years.
Yeah, I'll have all that shit in 2 years for sure.
What was that jungle that you just said?
Oh, a Tully?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Oh, that's why you have yellow jungles, man. Tullys are like the the Tully locality jungles. Those are the black and yellow ones. So actually, which pairing did your jungle come from Nick?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay, never mind.
RS152. I don't know.
There's a lot more Tully blood in the American jungles than most people know or care to admit. But a lot of the really black and yellow shit that we have stems from the Tully black room.
And is that somewhere in Queensland?
I don't know. I'd have to look at a map. I'm not even gonna try to explain it. It sounds stupid. Just Google it if you're curious. It's right there.
Yeah, I had no idea because I just haven't ever heard of it.
Well, there's the Athearn Tablelands, there's Palmerston, there's Tully, there's a lot of different localities. I can't explain it. It's on Google. Sorry, I suck. I'm not good at it. Like I said earlier, I'm not sciencey.
No, just go for it. As far as I mean, I obviously didn't dig as deep as I should have when I first got jungles, or I don't know enough about jungles. There's so many people that are ahead in the jungle game as far as quality and locality and all that stuff. Like I couldn't even dream of competing in a
Dude,
market like that.
It's a deep rabbit hole. It is a deep rabbit hole for sure. And I love locality stuff. I think it's awesome. Like gelatins. Dude, gelatins are fantastic. That like light blonde, it almost looks freaking exantic. Like once you have a gelatin jungle, I feel like you won't need exantics anymore because they're gelatin.
See, I thought that if we had inlands, we don't need exantics anymore, but no one gave a fuck about that.
Have you seen gelatin jungles?
Yeah, they look like a shitty jungle to my eye.
Bullshit, man. There's no yellow in them at all whatsoever.
I know.
Nor is there, but there's no brown either. It's like a olive and blonde and black. Like
I see xanthic.
Exactly, they do look exantic. They
So
look
why-
freaking black and white. Are
That's
you
a-
looking it up?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a sick coastal dude, but I mean,
That's the thing. They're jungle. That's why they're so badass.
Ooh.
so what are your thoughts on the IJ jungle coastal thing, them all being the same thing?
Oh, we bring this up every
I know.
time.
But
All right, so IJs are their own shit. It's obvious. It's blatantly freaking obvious. It's gotta be, in my opinion. Jungles and coastals, apparently genetically, they're pretty much, you can't freaking tell on like a DNA level. And that's important. So if that's true, and if you can look at a whole, like a scope of X amount of jungles and X amount of coastals and lay them out and read their DNA to be the exact same shit, you can't really argue with that. But to my knowledge, IJs are more genetically distinct than that. If they're not, I've heard recently maybe they're not. I don't really know. Obviously, it doesn't seem like they're the same. They're real easy to differentiate when I'm looking at them, But on a DNA level, it's crazy what selective breeding does, and a lot of times nature selective breeds itself. So clearly, nothing needs its own species status, but I think everything still having its individual subspecies should be valid. I mean, they are definitely phenotypically very distinct. So, in my mind, which again, I know nothing about genetics, nothing. You are not talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to DNA or anything like that. But phenotypically, that shit is stupid if they are not separate apart. So they should stay separate apart.
yeah, for me, it's not only color, but it's also size, and there just seems to be so many differences. But I also
Exactly.
fear that like what in rat snakes I've seen that happen in North American colubrids, to where emery were once a subspecies of corn snake, so we didn't think it was a big deal to mix them up, or western rat snake and a Texas rat snake, are those the same thing? And it's like things get lapped together and then taken apart.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, scrubs. Let's go to scrubs for a second. Southerns and Barnecks are both Amnestina. They're both Amnestines. That's dumb. Like, those look nothing alike at all, but they're the same species. So that's, again, locality. It's a thing, but I mean, Southerns and Barnecks look about as different as jungles and coastals do when you're putting them next to each other. So it's I'm glad I'm not in that field and that's somebody else's decision, because I just think that's stupid. I'd split that up. Those would be two subspecies in a second. In Highlands, they look different than Southerns and Barnecks, and it's just, I don't know. It's a total taxonomic shit show. The things about taxonomy is most of it is it's super political. Like if Hoser wasn't the guy that named Harrisoni, IJ, sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing that, then it would probably be widely accepted and agreed upon, and everybody be like, yeah, that's a subspecies. But Ray Hoser named it, and most people in the world don't really like Ray very much, so that's why nobody accepts IJs as being their own subspecies when you're in Australia and a lot of other people. The whole reason there's a debate at all whatsoever, at least that's the way it seems. It seems super political to me. And that sucks because, it sounds like he's probably right. But, I talk to him a lot all the time, and not personally, just through forums and groups and stuff. And I kind of get it. I mean, I understand.
I think we're quick to form our own opinion when it's like, who the fuck are we to give a shit about it? But I think if we keep shit split up though, then at least we're safe. We'll never regret it.
Yes, good call. I agree with that 110%. If we keep it split up, no harm, no foul. You can find that shit, the word's going to hell.
And then you can't backtrack once it's considered a separate species,
But you could always keep them separate.
Right.
Yeah. What's done is done when it comes to all the crossing and mixing. But you had mentioned earlier when it comes to regards to size, but shit, even coastals are super genetically diverse when it comes to size. Like look at Rockhamptons. To my knowledge, are really only topping out at about 6 feet, no bigger than IJs. And Brisbane's, you can go 10, you can get a 10 feet Brisbane. I don't have one. I probably will eventually. I'm going to try really hard not for her to ever get that big, but apparently they get there. And those are both coastals, but that's a locality thing. So I don't know. It's a real fuzzy line that we draw. It really is. It's really fuzzy.
It goes back to we need both of the people in the world. But at least if we have the pure people, there's still,
right, yeah.
I just want all the options out there, because the more time goes on, the better we get at breeding stuff, the more potential we have to breed shit together that fucks us over in the long run. If you know what I mean.
Sorry, I don't have my microphone hand. I know
it's about the kids, man. They got to be able to buy this shit in 20 years. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, and I think the hobby is going in such a way that it's actually getting more on the snobby pure side, than it has in the past.
Why be the snobby ones? Why are the pure ones the snobby ones? Please fucking tell me. Because in my opinion, it's the bioactive ones. Those are the new snobby ones. All right, it used to be pure snobby. Now it's got to be bioactive, and there's got to be isopods, and everything has to eat the shit. You never take the shit out of the cage. It takes care of itself. That's the new snobby. All right, we're being replaced. Damn it.
Well, you have the rack system snob.
I do have isopods breeding right here, right now for my crested geckos.
Yeah.
So I do bio too, but not for my fucking snakes. All right.
So you have other things with legs.
Yeah, my crested gecko. It's my son's. I just don't ever want to clean its shit, so I went bioactive.
That makes sense.
But that makes you fancier and snobbier.
I was thinking lazier.
Yeah, he did it for a different reason.
See, I was terrible. I had crested geckos.
Don't want the cage at all. I've had cresteds. I've bred cresteds. They shit a lot. It's annoying. I don't want to deal with it. So there's live plants, UV light, and isopods. We're straight.
There you go. So it doesn't look like you have an issue as far as snakes go. Tubs or display cages. You don't. Is it your younger snakes are in tubs, your older snakes are in displays?
Yeah, exactly. I have, if you're not a year old yet, you're in a tub. If you're over a year, then you're either in a cage or in a bigger tub. And I don't know. I have some pretty big tubs. It just depends. I have 10 AP cages, I have a 6-stack of the Vision Boa tubs, and I've got some other AP tubs. It depends, whatever the flavor is. I just want them to have enough room, and I prefer cages when I can fit it. My goal is hopefully this time next year to own my own home, or at least be close to owning my own home, and doubling the size of my reptile room so I have more space. I'd like to do some outdoor enclosures, and I do want bigger and more, as far as the cages are concerned. Will I still keep everything on paper? Yeah, probably, but they'll still have more space to climb, more branches to wrap on and stuff like that. And I will be doing some outdoor enclosures. I'm really excited to hopefully, when I buy my home, I'll be able to build some outside cages for my diamonds, because I really want to keep my diamond pythons outdoors year round.
You think?
Because they can handle the winter here. They can, and they will.
So what's the temperature like in Southern California in the winter?
It gets down to the 40s. Every once in a while, you may peak into the 30s, but for the most part, you're about 50 at night, 55 during the winter time. It's kind of the average low. 45's exceptionally cold, and like twice a year it gets colder than that. So as long as I have it set up properly, that shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to keep the diamonds outside. And then I'll have some bigger cages for the scrubs outside as well. In my perfect world, I want to build this reptile room where I have indoor cages for the scrubs, but I want a doggy door that I can open or close to go into the outside cage, so they can, like one week I got one open, the other week I got the other open. So I'll have this giant outside epic thing, which, each week a different scrub gets to play with it. I think that
big dreams.
Yeah. Oh, it'll happen. I make dreams come true.
Oh.
Don't doubt me. It'll happen.
How would you set up diamonds? Would you make one enclosure big enough for everyone, for the two of them, or would you separate?
No, I think there is something to be said about introduction. I believe that, yes, I have cohabbed species before, and I've had them breed. That being said, when you introduce a male to a female, there are many times when you get that immediate lock to where maybe if they're together all the time, they just don't give a shit. And there's something to be said about separating your pairs and putting them back together, and separating them and putting them back together. And there's just way too many people that I've spoke with, and and myself and my own experience as well, that have been successful with that, to where I think that cohabbing year round might be you'll have a male that's less motivated to breed when the time comes.
Yeah, y'all get bored with shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Dude, that was deep on so many levels.
Other Brandon, who I believe also lives in Southern California, says that you might be able to keep inlands outdoor there too.
Probably. Yeah. And I would have some supplemental heating. I mean, I would have it figured out to where something like they're all on their own outdoors. Like I'd have a high box with a heat pad or a heat panel, or like a cage inside of a cage, so to speak, for them to retreat to when it got super freaking cold. Like, I'm not going to totally leave them hanging, but I think in general, this climate's perfect for outdoor enclosures. So if I let them go outside, I can build some epic shit without having space requirements.
I know the tortoise people don't rely on their animals to be smart enough to like find heat, so they usually lock them in the warmth. Would you allow the snake to just, be a snake and find the heat, or you think you'd kind of lock him in there if you knew it was getting below freezing?
Dude, snakes have been snakes for thousands and thousands of years. Like, they'll figure it out. I don't. They're not smart or anything, and scrubs are. Scrubs are smart as shit. The scrubs are very intelligent. I'm telling you, it's creepy. But no, they'll figure it out. I have at least that much faith in their intelligence to where, I mean, they see heat, man. Like,
Yeah, if they could do one thing, that's the thing.
Yeah. It's fine. No big deal.
No, that would be super cool. As far as like big constrictors and stuff, I know that Tom Crutchfield keeps all of them outside, including diamonds and stuff like that. So I wonder if there's something to it.
Isn't Tom Crutchfield a badass?
He's different. He's different.
Man, he's old school. That guy got grandfathered in. All right, he's cool as hell. Well, whatever we rate people on in like this modern day of this guy's okay, this guy's not okay, the super stupid social media drama that you always see as far as, oh my God, this person does this thing and that thing. Man, I'm sorry, but half of this shit that we have currently in today's hobby is because of Tom Crutchfield.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Thank you, motherfucker. You're a badass. Keep doing what you do.
For your pants in your pockets, in your water bottles.
I think that is just for whatever reason we kind of move ahead and then we kind of start frowning upon the people who built the actual industry. When in the fact that like you forget that that's all they had, and you know
they're doing
tried
the
to
same
make it
thing.
work.
You know, they've been doing. Like we're the ones, but like. New people are the ones who are changing it. Like, and yes, change sometimes is for the better.
But the only reason why we're able to do it,
the fact that it's like been going on for a while, like, and they're not trying to make it different like you are.
I don't know. That's the Godfather, man. Nothing but respect. Nothing but respect. My first
Nick Mutton is the Godfather.
No, dude, no. And then Nick's something different. That's awesome. You find a different thing to say. Nick. A lot of respect for Nick, but Tom was around way before his time. So
Nick's Michael.
Yeah. Nick's like Godfather 3, you know?
That's only like 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's fucked up. But like, I think my life goal would be the reptile hobby. If I could make like a documentary on Tom Crutchfield, or like he needs to like someone needs to get and extract all of Tom Crutchfield's stories and like the absolute truth of Tom Crutchfield's stories, like when he like would all these statues of limitations are up and shit.
Do you think he would tell everything?
I think if he's about to die, I mean, why not, right?
If he's on his deathbed.
The next time he gets tagged, just hit him up, you know?
Did you see he got bit by a croc monitor?
Dude, did you see he got bit by a cobra? I mean, or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a cobra. It was some form of rattlesnake tagged him last time he almost died. That dude's fucking nuts, man. Love him to death. That's great. Never met him. Always looked up to him. Great, just I don't know, great dude. You know, and respect your elders. I guess that's my message. You know, they're the people that came before us. You know, pay attention to what they have to teach, learn from it, do your own thing. But there are so many of us that have made these mistakes and have done these things wrong, to where now these new keepers that are coming into the hobby have this luxury of information. And a lot of them just won't listen to it. You know, a lot of people just don't want to hear it, and they want to do their own thing, and whatever you say, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is fine. And, you know, it's disheartening, because when I come on a forum and when I start talking about, hey, maybe you should think about this or that, it's because I fucked that up already, you know, and I figured it out. I don't do that anymore. There's a really good reason I don't do that anymore. You should just shut the fuck up and listen. But it never happens, and that's fine, because everyone's got to take their own path, you know. But
they gotta fuck up too. They gotta feel the fuck up.
Yeah, you know, it's fine. It's part of the process, and I feel like it's an important process to go from, you know, rookie to solid advanced keeper, somebody who's been around for a while. And, you know, I haven't done anything important. You know, it's there's nothing crazy that I've produced, and I haven't, you know, sold all these animals. I have a fucking day job, you know. I don't make a ton of money or really any money off anything that I do, but you know what? I've been able to continually do what I do for years now and have almost nothing come out of my pocket. I break even every year. That's awesome. That's all I want. You know, it'd be cool. Somebody said earlier, do you want to do a Morelia house be your full-time job? Yeah, that'd be great. But as long as Morelia house and my breeding and my endeavors can allow me to continually do what I love every year and not take money out of my paycheck for it, winning. That's all I
And
need.
you managed to I mean, you said you had a like kind of a disappointing season, but then again, you produce Southern Scrubs, so at
And
the end of the day,
they haven't hatched yet.
True.
They haven't hatched yet.
that's true. But you say you haven't done anything, but you've bred Macklots and Southerns, so that's pretty damn good.
I like it. I'm happy. You know, that's all that matters. I come in the reptile room and I'm proud of it and I enjoy it and I can't wait to see what happens next. And something's going to happen next and it's going to be cool. And, you know, one of the main things that keeps me going is I have repeat customers that have been great to me and valuable to me and having I'm really big on customer service, man. That's my thing. Communication, huge. Honesty, huge. Being upfront, huge. Taking care of your shit, you know. And anybody can. Producing snakes, dude. That's the easy part. Then you gotta sell them. And you'll find when you're new walking into this thing that you have this illusion of what you think you're going to get, how quick things are going to sell. And you have to understand that you're going to possibly be sitting on your animals for a very long time. And you have to be okay with that. And when someone hits you up that's interested in buying your stuff, man, you've got to deliver customer service. It's important, and it's what's going to set you apart, and it's why people are going to buy from you instead of somebody else. There are people that I will specifically only buy from because I've dealt with them and they are so good at their craft. And it's not just their animals, it's them. So you yourself and how you respond to messages and how often you'll take phone calls and how you do things will have a lot to do with the success of your business. Even if it's just starting with one clutch, but you want to keep going, man, that's where you start. Then that's great to take that clutch and make sure that they go to the best homes as possible and help those people out and get them in the hobby and get them excited and get them interested to buy more stuff. and they'll come back next year. You'll hatch something else. Guess what? You're going to get a phone call immediately. Hey, I saw you did this. That's awesome. I'd like to buy another snake from you. Okay, cool. Then all of a sudden, you know, there's all these posts talking about how great you are, whatever, you know, and it's this weird thing, social media and what it's done to the hobby. And I can't wait to see where it takes us, because part of it gets us really jaded. I know there's a lot of stuff that gets posted to where I'm just like, guys, really, come on, like another feeding video, seriously, you know, like another.
That person hasn't been long enough to know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because I did a bunch of feeding videos when I was younger, and I won't do them anymore. You know, I haven't done a feeding video in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but a long time ago, I did nothing but feeding videos. And I really regret that now. And I would love to change that. And, you know, I guess my point is, where you start in this hobby, you will evolve. And so will your attitude, and so will the way that you look at things. So pay attention to the guys that have been around for a while. Listen to what they have to say, because it's a pretty consistent path that a lot of people walk down. It starts at one spot, but pretty consistently ends in another. So I don't know. Take it for what you will.
Well, I think that's a perfect, good, positive ending point. Brandon, if people want to contact you or reach out to you, where should they hit you up?
Facebook's the best. I only have like 2 videos on YouTube. So Facebook, Brandon Wheeler, or Morelia House is where I post all of my snake stuff. The business page Messenger sucks. So please hit me up on my personal one. I don't know why they're different. But they are. So yeah, just hit me up on Facebook, and I'd love to chat. I love to talk snakes. Carpet Python discussion board, if you're not a member of that, that is a group that I'm one of the admins for, that I think is one of the better places to talk about in-depth topics when it comes to Morelia. So please go add yourself and come have a conversation.
And is there anything else you would like to include that maybe we didn't hit on?
No, we're good.
Sweet.
What's your dog's name again?
This is Tommy.
I missed it. It cut out. What'd you say?
Tommy.
Tommy. Okay.
Okay. So he's blind. He's toothless. He can barely move his little stiff legs. Really interesting creature you got there.
It's my pup.
So where can you find us?
Obviously, if you're listening to this, you can find us at Port City Pythons on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our website, portcitypythons.com, where we will post snakes when they are available. And there's t-shirts there always. And then the portcitypythons@gmail.com.
Watch NPR. Well, listen to NPR tomorrow.
Yes, half of this amazing duo will be on NPR, the less fun half.
Okay. Good to know. And thank you guys so much for listening, for watching, for everything. And have a great night.
I'm going to call in and fuck with you tomorrow. It's going to be
Oh, no. I mean, you can. Go for it. But now, you know, Eric will listen to this, and he knows what's coming then.
He accepts it. It's fine.
Bye, guys.